everybody. Welcome back to another week of Travel Talk. As always, my name is Allie, and I am your Women's Travel Club show host. So today I have a really exciting, of course, travel talk prepared for you guys. Now, in that little introduction video, you will have seen it said Antarctica Expedition 2025. Now, I will clarify in saying we do have two Antarctica expeditions through Women's Travel Club right now. Yes, one is in 2025. However, we are primarily going to be talking about the 2026 expedition. Now, these two expeditions generally the same in terms of, what you're going to be seeing and doing. However, the vessel itself is going to be different, and we'll get into all of that fun stuff as well. But for the 2025 expedition, space is very limited and it is filling up fast. So if you have any inquiries or you are really like, I need to go in 2025, just send us an email, send me a message, and I will check on the status of the rooms for you. But for 2026, of course, there's lots of availability still, and those dates are between February 18th and February 28th. Again, that's 2026. But for today, I have Laura from Quark Expeditions who's going to be joining us today. But before I bring Laura on, I just wanted to let you guys know that I will be going to Peru on Monday with a Women's Travel Club group. I will be tour hosting the trek to Machu Picchu. So with that being said, the next 2 weeks, there will be no travel talks. I know. I do have some pre-recorded and I do have some emails and lots of previous travel talks that are on our website and YouTube channel that you guys can watch in my absence. But I just wanted to give you the heads up now. But with that being said, I'm going to bring Laura on. I'll have her introduce herself and then we'll get into these really exciting questions and conversations. So here we go. Hello. How are you, Laura?
Doing great, and I'm so happy and excited to be here with you and everyone for today's session and talking about Antarctica.
Perfect, awesome. So I'm going to bring up, Laura has prepared a beautiful slideshow with a wide variety of pictures to get you sort of a sneak peek into what to expect on this journey. So I'll bring that up to the studio here. And so Laura, yeah, you'll have access to go forwards and backwards as you please. But yeah, so this is our 2025 or 2026 expedition with Quark. So yeah, I'm gonna get things started by asking you, just generally speaking, what is an expedition? What's the general insight of what that means for our members who might not know what expeditioning is?
That's a very good question, and sorry, I feel like I didn't really introduce myself. So
I know.
I didn't know where to start. So
if you wanted to just give our members a general insight on your involvement with Quark and what do you do with them?
Yeah. And so I am the area sales director, as Ali mentioned, and I live in Toronto. And this is my fourth role with Quark. I am the area sales director. I primarily work with Canada, of course, but I've been very lucky and fortunate to have worked on board as well. So I worked in some of the sales team. I've been a polar travel advisor. I've been a linguist on board. And so, yeah, it's been, I think, altogether 6 years of Quark. And I got what we said, the polo bug. And I really like the question that you asked. I'm passionate about expedition, and really, I think the word of expedition, like the basic definition of like what is an expedition, is the core of like what we do at Quark. So a common definition is like a journey or voyage undertaken by a group of people with a particular purpose, especially that of exploration or scientific research. And of course, at Quark, we do more of the exploration, but sometimes we do a little bit of the scientific research as well. We do have some of their expedition staff that are scientists, and they conduct their studies on board, and sometimes people can take part of that. But really, like, to me, an expedition is really to accept the unexpected, take advantage of what nature has to offer, being flexible, and then with the we have, it's really possible to really embrace the unexpected and unexpected things happen in the polar region. So I hope that is answering a little
Oh,
bit of.
absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And Antarctica, I mean, you can expedition many different places, of course, in the world. And we have a travel talk coming out shortly on our Amazon expedition. But Antarctica is completely different, and the skill set required to do this kind of expedition is a little bit more niche. So
It
can
is.
you give us a bit of an insight on your team and who's going to be guiding our members along this journey?
Yeah, absolutely. So at Quark, we only do polar. This is like we're considered as the leaders in polar adventures. We don't go anywhere else on the planet. So we do the Arctic and Antarctica, of course. And so what we really believe is that we're here to take people to the most remote region on the planet. And then to do so, and then being so specialized, we have a team that is 100% polar specialized. So our guides all have like a polar pedigree of some sort. We do have the scientists, like the glaciologist or penguinologist, ornithologist, geologist. So all this type of like scientific pedigree and background, but they are all related to the polar region. Also, we have ornithologist in every single expedition, and then we also have some guides that have more of an adventure background. For instance, we have our guides doing the kayaking program or the camping or like the helicopter team or mountain biking. So people that are more have like an adventure kind of like background. And then we also have like photography guides. So every single expedition has a photography guide. And of course, the guide is really much specialized in photography with the polar region. So I really like this opportunity because for people, what it means is that they can take advantage of the guide and ask all the little questions the guide. The photography guide will give a talk and a presentation on board and show how to use their cameras for people or how to use their phone. The polar region is very particular because of the light, of the ice. So it's very important to have the guide to show like some little cool features, what is possible. Like I do have an iPhone. It's impossible to miss any pictures with an iPhone, but there's some like very cool thing that sometimes we don't think about, like the slow motion, stuff like that, to do very cool things. So the guides at Quark, if you ask me, it's the strengths of Quark Expedition. Those guys know so much. They have so much expertise. Some of our expedition leaders have like 300 expedition in the polar region on the back, and they're so passionate. Quark has been around since 33 years, and so we do have a lot of expertise, lots of experience, and really like the success of Quark is really truly because of those guides and of that team, really.
It's interesting because it flows into kind of the next question about safety, because Antarctica is such a remote destination. So to kind of have the knowledge of the team behind you, I think really makes or breaks what this expedition could be, right? And to know that these people who are accompanying our members on this journey are the best of the best. These are the people who have studied this remote location, who know it like the back of their hands. And should anything, arise unexpectedly, as you said, in expeditioning, aside from travel itself, expeditioning, you need to have an open mind and you need to have things come naturally. And things can happen that might not be, planned or, fun, but it's nice to know that we have a experienced team behind us. So, I am assuming they're very well versed in, any negative safety precautions that may arise, if any at all. We always knock on wood for that one. But yeah, so can you talk about, preparing for the expedition in terms of, the location itself? How the cold, do they need to have a specific sort of packing regimen? What's your advice there?
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. Safety is, for us, the most important thing. And then because Quark has been around for like 3 decades, they really like were the pioneer in the polar region. So they kind of like wrote like the book about
Yeah.
safety. And then the fact that all of our ships are like so recent as well, it does allow us to really navigate in the most safest way. I was on the ultramarine in July, and I was so impressed to see like the way they like screen the fjords and then the channels, and then with all the icebergs. So you really feel like you're like in the right hand when you are on our ship, and the captains are like so knowledgeable. They've been doing this those trips for like so long. And then when we go outside, we actually have the best guide to passenger ratio in the whole industry, which is one guide for 6 passengers.
Oh, wow.
So there's like staff everywhere to really make sure everyone feels safe, everyone is comfortable. It's very easy to get in and out of the Zodiac. I will say in terms of safety, the main thing really is to be able to walk on your own. We unfortunately, for safety reason, cannot accommodate any wheelchair or any like sort of
Mobility
like mobility, like a big mobility issue, or limitation. That will be like a safety issue. So, but as long as people can walk on their own, there's absolutely no problem here. And really, like in terms of like preparation, I always say there is like the physical preparation and then the mental preparation. In terms of like mental preparation, I mean, like be ready for the unknown, the unexpected, be flexible. Of course, Mother Nature will be a big part of the experience, but luckily we go to Antarctica when it's summer there. So usually we have a pretty cool weather. And then when I leave like Toronto to go to Antarctica, it's usually cooler in Toronto than it is in Antarctica.
Yes.
You can expect temperature in Antarctica. So we go from November to March. So this is summer in Antarctica because it's the southern hemisphere. So you can expect temperature between, like, I'll say -5, 6, up to +5 degrees Celsius. So it's not as bad as as you can expect. Sometimes it could be a little bit cooler, sometimes a little bit warmer, depending on like if you go November, it will be a little bit more cooler than late season. But really like it's not as bad as we might think. So like in terms of like mentality and then being prepared mentally, it's like just be open and embrace whatever is about to be happening to you. Like every expedition is different, and this is why this is so unique. It's very different than cruising, and really like take advantage of whatever nature is going to be offering. In terms of like physically, like physical being prepared physically, honestly, like there's nothing that's to do basically. So Quark has really like an immersive approach. Our goal is really to bring people outside as much as possible. So we'll go out every morning, every afternoon if the weather allows. But after that, we really respect that everyone has their own level of fitness and aptitude. So usually when we do like hiking or especially in Antarctica, this is more, we call it like perimeter landing. Hiking is more for the Arctic. In Antarctica, the terrain is sometimes it's not the best to go like on big long hikes. So we do like a perimeter landing, we also have to be very cautious of the penguins because those guys are everywhere. But really, like usually we do like different groups. We do the contemplative group for those who really want to go slow. Maybe they want to stay by the beach. They don't want to hike. They just want to take it slow. And then sometimes this group is a perfect opportunity to just sit down, enjoy the time with the penguins, and then do a lot of photography. And then we also have like different groups. We have the medium slow, medium fast, and then we have usually another group that is called the chargers. For those who really want to, to take advantage of like more active activities. But there's really like an experience for everyone. It could be as physical and adventurous as you want, as being like as laid back and contemplative as you want as well. So no specific preparation. Just maybe a little tip is like, if you absolutely want to do kayaking, like the sea kayaking program, which is a full-time program, this program will require a little bit of experience, including a wet exit. So if you want to, you absolutely want to do that, but you have no experience in the sea kayaking, just recommend to take maybe 1 or 2 lessons at home. But you could also do just a paddling excursion, which is really for the beginners as well.
So good question here from Brandy in relation to the insurance for this type of trip, because it is an expedition. It's a physical level of abilities needed, sort of. So I know with the Women's Travel Club, for our American members, we go through TravelX. TravelX insurance is really reputable, great for our members. But in terms, Laura, of the specifics of their policy, is there anything that Quark recommends for members going on an expedition in regards to their insurance?
Such a great question. So when you book a trip with Quark and Women's Travel Club, you have included in the cost of your expedition emergency evacuation insurance. So what it means is that if something happened to you on board, whatever, like appendicitis, I don't know, like, something, sometimes life is life, and thank goodness it doesn't happen often, but let's say something happened to you on board, Quark will take you to the nearest hospital. So when it comes to Antarctica, there is like some sort of like alliance with all the expedition ship and all cruising ship within Antarctica. And so if there is someone that is nearby and then that is going back up to Ushuaia quicker than us, let's say they are already on their way up, then we will basically do like an emergency call. Also, we have, the helicopters on the ultramarine, and then some of their other possibility could be to go back to King George Island to take a flight to Punta Arenas. So if something like an emergency, like life-threatening emergency happen on board, we would do everything to take you to the nearest hospital. When you get to that hospital, that is your own medical insurance that will need to kick in. So medical insurance is mandatory when you go on such an expedition. You are welcome to pick any like insurance. I personally, the one thing I would recommend is to have like a cancellation for any reason travel insurance. So something that will take care of your medical part, but also of your travel. Something very simple. Sometimes people lost their luggage, and then you get to Ushuaia and then you don't have any luggage. So that will also cover you in that sense. And then if there is anything with your flight, there is a strike somewhere, you're missing the flight, that will also be covering your pre-expedition journey, like if you're not able to meet us for whatever reason with an airline. So so to me, highly recommend like a consideration for any recent policy. It's also a good way to have peace of mind. Let's say, you're ready to go, but something happened in your family and then you have to stay behind, so that that your trip is covered as well. So that would be like my recommendation. And then just so everyone knows, on board, we also have 2 doctors. We have a doctor for the staff, expedition crew, but also for the passengers, with a clinic that is dedicated to passengers on board. And then if anything happened to you and then you need to talk to the doctor, could be as simple as, maybe you're going to be a little bit seasick, and that's okay. We have the doctor on board, and that consultation and then care on board is free of charge.
Beautiful. That's awesome. And then I just have a comment here from Donna, who is on our 2025 expedition. She mentioned that she did have to get extra insurance for the helicopter portion of the trip. So is that a requirement by Quark, or is that optional for the members as to whether or not they need that extra insurance for the?
I think this is like, yeah, I'm not aware of like a Quark asking for the extra insurance for the flight. So I'll recommend just to maybe talk to your insurance. And I know some of the policy, depending on the insurance, they will be a little bit strict in terms of like adventures. I know some insurance, for instance, they will have a clause and they will say, oh, we'll cover you, but we'll not cover you if you do something like super adventures, like skiing or like mountaineering or like kayaking or the helicopter. So that is not like a Quark requirement. This is more of a policy of like the insurance. So I do recommend everyone to really look at all those little clauses related to exceptional activities. Definitely. And then I also encourage you to maybe ask your bank, because I know sometimes people have particular coverage with their credit card with that. So I'll say maybe double check with your credit card. Maybe you're already covered and you don't have to book anything extra. And then if you're not, then definitely have a comprehensive insurance covering everything. Look at all those little clauses.
Yes, Donna said here that it is from the insurance company. And then I just have Iris asking here, she's just a bit looking for clarification. So does Quark cover the travel between the ship to the hospital should our member need to get to the hospital? I know you mentioned that within the pricing of the tour, we have included that sort of medical coverage. So just to clarify that portion of it, that is
Absolutely, it's covered. Yeah. The emergency evacuation insurance policy is $250,000 per person USD. So everything before you reach the hospital, we will take care of it. And then once you reach the hospital, your own medical insurance will kick in, basically.
Perfect. And then Iris has just a follow-up question here. And it's perfect timing, Iris, because I was actually going to ask the same thing. Does Quark provide any special clothes for the trip? So are there any, coats or anything given by Quark to our members?
Absolutely. So the beautiful yellow parka that you see on the pictures, it's yours, it's offered. And it's yours to keep after the expedition. I absolutely love the parkas. There are actually 2 layers. There's like a very like a puffy black parka underneath that you can zip to the yellow like shell, and the yellow shell is actually waterproof. And it's we can absolutely see them on the picture. They're like very warm parka. And then sometimes it's really cold in Toronto, I wear my Quark parka.
Awesome.
And the pockets are very warm as well. There's tons of like pockets everywhere to put your phone, your gloves. They're really amazing parka. And then at the end of the voyage, we'll show you how to fold it and then to roll it, and then you basically put it together in the hoodie. And so it's the size of like a big soccer ball or like a rugby ball, but like it's easier to put in your luggage basically. So that is offered. And we also provide the expedition boots. So why we do this, it's, well, number one, it's important that everyone is comfortable and then well covered in terms of like shoes. So those boots are like mug boots. They're like really comfortable. Every time I go, I never bring any pair of shoes. Like even when I go to the Arctic and we have like hikes for like 3-4 hours, I'm wearing the mug boots. They are so warm and comfortable. The reason also that why we do that is because we are engaged in the protection of the polar region, and in Antarctica, it's really important that no one is bringing any little like pollen or anything that can be stuck within your shoes, the one that you wear at home. It has it's the same for the parka basically. Like sometimes people wants to bring their old parka with button. The Velcro is basically very good to keep those little pollen or seeds or dust from like other country around the globe. And so by providing the parka and the boots, it's easier for us to lower the risk of like a biosecurity contamination. And then after every landing, we clean the boots with some sort of like lotion. I forgot the name in English. I think it's called zircon lotion. And so this lotion is really to kill any bacteria. So we're not spreading any bacteria from site to another one. And so this lotion can really like damage any type of like hiking boots. And also we need to keep people dry. The reason is like if you are wet in the polar region, you're gonna be like really cold. So so boots and parka, it's like really, really super important. Sometimes it's snowing, sometimes it's raining, sometimes there's like some waves, and so you can get splashed. So it's very important. The one thing that is mandatory and that we do not provide is a waterproof pants. So that will be your own responsibility to do. It's just because everyone is different, and it's very important that people are comfortable with the pants, and then sizing is more complicated than parkas. So people will have to bring their own waterproof pants. And then we also have the Polar Boutique on board. So if people forget, about something, sometimes people are losing the gloves. We also have the Polar Boutique with a lot of like items to be purchased if there is anything missing. Any types of adventure options like helicopter, like kayaking, stand-up paddleboarding, like sea paddling, all of those activities, we also provide the equipment. So for the helicopters, that is a special dry suit for the helicopters. And then for kayaking and then paddling, we also provide a dry suit as well.
Beautiful. That's perfect because you've just answered Kelly's question as well about the dry suits. So that's awesome. And then Iris also asked, about gloves and boots. So that's great. And then Donna and Milka are asking if there is a recommended list of packing suggestions. So types of clothes to bring. Does Quark have something like that our members can utilize when they're packing?
Absolutely. We do provide that. So we have some brochures and a kit. So every time someone book their trip, they receive this brochure, and then we have like the list of like what to pack. So people have like have an idea of like what should I bring on my expedition. So basically, the key is layers, 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 and layers.
Yes.
The main reason is because sometimes like it can be very cold when you're sitting in a Zodiac for 2 hours. But then you get on land, and then you go on a little hike, and then you're kind of like sweating, it's sunny, so you can sometimes be pretty warm. So having layers, it's very important, so you can take them off, put them in your backpack, and then off you go. The Quark Expedition parka also have like stripes, so if you're like super warm, it's easy to take off the parka, put it like as a backpack, basically. But yeah, we'll definitely give you a list on like not to be missed items like sunscreen, binoculars, sunglasses, and then waterproof backpack, and so on.
Can you clarify the gloves? Because I know you mentioned, are those only available for purchase in the boutique, or do you provide those as well?
No, we don't provide the gloves because like everyone is really different. Like it would be, I think, too complicated. Some people have like tiny
Yeah.
hands, some people have big hands. So we don't provide them. But for gloves, the way I do, what I pack when I go on an expedition, I have like a thin layer of glove, like the easy one, like thin with just fleece, and then so like this is very easy for me to take pictures, for instance, with my phone. So now they do pretty cool stuff with like, they do this little thing on the fingers so you can
Yes.
actually take easy take pictures.
Yes.
And then I also have like a bigger pair that is waterproof, especially for zodiacing.
Right. So you were recommending two pairs that because it can be it's all dependent on the person as well.
Everyone is different. This is what I do. Yeah, this is what I do. I have two pairs, and an extra pair just in case I lose them. But everyone is different. Some people are never gonna wear gloves because they're like pretty warm all the time. But yeah, I do. This is what I do, and it's working pretty well for me. So I have a thin pair of gloves, and then a big one that is waterproof for the zodiac, especially.
Perfect. I know we touched on it briefly, but could you just give us another general overview of what weather is like in February? What temperatures kind of range between? Donna's just asking here.
Yeah. So so the season is like from November to March, and the two trip that we are talking about are both in February. So February, this is like end of the season. So you can expect temperature to be a little bit warmer than November, because November is like the end of the winter. So February, like when I've been a couple of times in February and March, and then yeah, like you can expect like I'll say yeah, between -5 up
Okay.
to +5 degrees Celsius. Usually February you can really expect a little bit above the freezing point, so above zero. So it's really like not as cold as we might think, but it's just like being in a zodiac, and then if you're not moving, sometimes it could be windy, so you can be like pretty cold. But yeah, I like February. This is such a great time, especially regarding wildlife, and maybe we're going to talk a little bit later about that. But yeah, in terms of like weather, you can expect like yeah, not so cold temperature. And what I like about traveling in February as well is that it will get a little bit darker in the evening. So versus if you go in November and December, like you'll have the midnight sun. But like in February, like especially like the one like in 2026, like this is really end of February, like the February 26th. So and at that time it will get dark at night, which is pretty cool because it means two things. One is incredible sunset, and two is the southern hemisphere in terms of like sky and then stars, which is like pretty cool because there's no light pollution. So the best night sky I had of my whole life was in Antarctica of the season, like in March. So yeah, so February, like the best sky I had was in March. So February 26th, I kind of like expect that you might have some pretty cool sunset and then some cool views in the evening as well.
Perfect. Thank you. And then I have Kelly asking, so for the activities like the stand-up paddleboard and kayak, are those included in the cost or are they an extra cost? Now, I know I can answer that briefly. So the optional excursions are at an extra cost would be the sea kayaking, that would be the paddling excursion, the stand-up paddleboarding. For the 2025 expedition, the helicopter landing experience, that is all an additional charge. Included in the price, of course, you're going to have some like Zodiac cruising and other things of the sort. But for those ones that you're asking about, Kelly, those are, and correct me if I'm wrong, Laura, but I do understand that those are at an additional cost for our members.
You are absolutely right. For 2025 on the ultramarine, what is included in the cost of the expedition is a flight seeing on board the helicopters.
Yes.
Kayaking and then paddling, absolutely. those are additional costs. The way we do it, it's because it's not for everyone. Not everyone wants to participate. The sea kayaking program is actually really, it's a small group, like the one you see on the picture. Those are the sea kayakers. It's actually 14 people that will go outside every day, every morning, every afternoon. So this is like an in-depth program for those who absolutely want to go every day. For those who wants to go just one time during the voyage, we have the paddling excursion, which is just a half day. And then I think we have a couple of groups. We have either 2 or 3 groups. So we're talking about maybe 20 to 30 spots on board. Those need to be booked in advance. Those fill up really quickly. So if you're interested in those adventure options, I absolutely recommend you to book in advance. Don't wait until last minute.
And I will mention that our tour page for the Antarctica expeditions, with the help of Quark, is extremely informative. We obviously use different suppliers for all of our tours, and Quark has been absolutely, amazing with giving us, this is what's included, what's not included. Under each actually additional optional experience, you will have a full list of the provided gear for that excursion that you will get. You're going to have other recommendations, a full explanation on what the day looks like, and things like that. So in regards to those kind of details, if you can't find the answer on our tour page, definitely ask us, because Quark, again, you guys are really, really informative with what needs to be brought and what does not, and what is included and what is not. So thank you for that answer, Laura. Milka here has asked about the excursions. Can you book them before you board, or can you book while on board for extra excursions? Now, I know you said some of them they fill up quite fast, but some of them can be booked while on board. What's your recommendation there, Laura?
Well, when you say excursion, so you're talking about
like
the Zodiac cruising, or about the adventure options like the kayak?
The adventure options, the optional ones.
Yeah. So in any case, those need to be booked in advance. The reason is because it's pretty rare that we're leaving Ushuaia with availability on those programs. So if you know that this is like a must do for you, absolutely book in advance. Sometimes what is happening is like on board, we have people that are following the safety briefing. So for every single adventure options, we have a safety briefing where people go with the guides and they have to follow the safety briefing. Sometimes people realize, oh my God, like this is absolutely not for me. And so they drop last minute. Sometimes people get sick and then they're like, I can't go paddling, I'm not feeling well. It does happen. It does not happen often. So that's why it's important to book in advance, but sometimes it does happen. So I'll say if you are interested and then, the adventure options are fully booked, I'll say just book your trip. And when you get on board, raise your hand, participate to the mandatory safety briefing. And if there is a cancellation or an opening, the guide will let you know. Sometimes they'll do a draw, and then so you get a chance to participate. Sometimes when we have exceptional weather and then when it's possible with different operation, we bring on another extra group. So this is especially happening with the paddling excursions, where we book before for 2 groups, and then the groups are like sold out. But then on board, maybe this is a perfect day, maybe all the groups have been. And then, this is the last day in Antarctica. It's perfect, weather allows us to go outside. And then sometimes the expedition leader will decide to bring out another group. And then if that's the case, they will do the draw. So that's why it's so important to raise your hands when you get on the ship and say, look, if there is any opportunity, I'll join. And then you just need to follow the safety briefing at the beginning of the voyage.
Thank you. I have Donna asking now, this is a bit of a tricky question, Donna. For Women's Travel Club, I don't know about you, Laura, but she has asked, what can we use for seasickness? Now, a completely valid question, Donna. Something that I am not at liberty to give an answer to, as I am not a healthcare professional. Just for liability purposes, that Women's Travel Club recommend that you do talk to your specific healthcare professional, if not a travel clinic, because yes, I see you have said here, the scopolamine, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but is no longer available. Again, I have, what I use, but I am not at liberty to disclose that, as I am not a healthcare professional and I cannot, unfortunately, give you that advice. And Laura, I don't know if you're of the same kind of mindset under Quark, but that is our answer from the Women's Travel Club, unfortunately, Donna.
Yeah, no, it's the same. And it's also like, it's tricky to recommend any specific medication because we don't know the health history of everyone. And so when people ask me the question, I'll say, look, if you know that you are already, seasick, maybe you traveled before and then you experience some of the seasickness, I'll definitely recommend you to book an appointment with your doctor to talk about it, and so that your doctor can provide something that will fit with your medical background, maybe your current medication. So always good to talk to your doctor about it. Luckily for everyone, today there's like some pretty good medication out there, including some of the patches. So patches is not for everyone, but I know it does work really good for some people. And then I know also like there's like some pill and medication that is like working really well. And then if you don't know, I'll say maybe grab some ginger, but like take like, don't be scared about seasickness. Like the medication will be available on board. We have the doctor on board. If you have any concern, just raise your hand, chat with the doctor as soon as you get on the ship. And then also the doctor on board will have medication, and then a few of them, and then so they can advise on like which one is the best. The key with seasickness medication is really to take them before the trip. Sometimes people wait until last minute, and so it's too late. So when we board the ship, usually we would, on day one, people board the ship in Ushuaia, and in the evening we cross the Le Mer Channel, which is really protected waters. But the expedition leader will always say, on the microphone, saying, "Okay, folks, like, hope you're enjoying your evening. This is not a time to take your seasickness medication if you want to," because we usually enter the Drake Passage around 2 a.m., 3 a.m. on the first night.
Thank you for that recommendation. Kelly's just said she has to leave, but I'll send you the recording, Kelly. No problem. I do have to say though, I'm loving this engagement from our members today. And I think for a trip like this, it's important that those, considering or already booked are, well informed. And that's why Laura and I are here today, not just to kind of help, people who want to book, but for people who are booked on as well. Like we want to make sure that you guys have the whole picture, you're fully informed and you're ready to go. So thank you first and foremost from you guys for asking these questions. I'm just looking here. Diane's given her own recommendation for what works for her. Iris, is the following situation the same in Antarctica as the Galapagos? In the Galapagos winter, there's the Humboldt Current, which brings more food for sea life and wildlife. I'm going to put this up. So in terms of the Galapagos, Iris, I would have to ask our supplier for the Galapagos cruise. I'm not sure, Laura, if you know. I know Quark is Antarctica specific, so I don't know if you have any knowledge on the, comparatively speaking, what the conditions are like in both areas. But I do not have the answer to that, Iris, unfortunately, but I can find it for you if, Laura, you don't know.
What was the question about the Galapagos? Was it regarding...
Are the conditions in the Galapagos kind of the same in Antarctica in terms of the current and things of the sort?
Oh, in terms of like current and seas? Oh, that I I'm not a Galapagos specialist,
Yeah.
unfortunately. I'm dying to go, to be honest with
Yes.
you, but I don't know about the Galapagos. But for Antarctica, basically in terms of like sea and currents, like when we leave Ushuaia and then we cross the Lemaire Channel, which is really protected, then we have usually a day and a half up to 2 days of the Drake Passage crossing. So those are like open seas. You can expect the Drake Lake, which is like flat as a pancake, right? Or you can expect the Drake Shake, which is a little bit more bumpy. The one thing to know about the Drake Passage is like if it was not safe to go, we will not go.
Right.
Sometimes, like when there is like a huge storm, we just take a detour, spend a little bit more time, but we really try to avoid it. So if it wasn't safe, we would not be doing that. And then I really like the Drake Passage, to be honest, because it's such an amazing opportunity to see some of the wildlife, especially the birds. Albatrosses, you will see those guys in the Drake Passage. They are pretty rare in the Antarctic Peninsula. So if bird, the Drake Passage is actually the perfect spot. Whale watching as well in a Drake Passage. It's pretty rare to see a blue whale, but if we do see a blue whale, that would probably be on the Drake Passage. And it's such an incredible thing to do. Like, you know, you come back and like, I did it. I crossed the Drake Passage. Like there's so many stories and legend about the Drake Passage. So this is, I actually love this time. And then when you reach Antarctica, in terms of like current and everything, you know, there's a lot of like channels, and then the ships are like usually in a really like well protected area. There are so many islands and channels and into fjords, and so when we actually get into the peninsula, there is not a lot of current. The ship is like, you barely feel the ship moving. All of our ship are also have like stabilizer, so when you get to Antarctica, like you can expect like to not feel anything in terms of like movement. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that the members' questions are perfectly lining up with everything I'm wanting to ask. So it's I love that we got that in there about the Drake Passage, because I think for those who have minimal understanding or awareness of Antarctica, everybody knows about the Drake Passage. I mean, I know, but like, do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's one of those things that I think can be a little bit nerve-wracking for some people, especially those who don't, you know, really understand what it entails, what the difference between the shake and the lake are, and all that stuff. And then I also had a question from Hillary, which kind of segues perfectly into this conversation about the ships that are being used on these expeditions. So for the 2025, we have the Ultramarine, and for 2026, we have the World Explorer. Now, Hillary did just mention that the helicopter ride is included in the ship price. That is for the 2025 expedition, I will clarify. The 2026 with the World Explorer does not have that. So I do want to make that distinction first and foremost. But Laura, can you kind of give us, a kind of a difference between the World Explorer versus the Ultramarine?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Ultramarine is a ship that is pretty unique. I have to say, Quark owns the ship. When I joined the company back in 2017, we were already talking about her and then making project and plan, and then she was kind of like built at the beginning of COVID, and then she was
Just cut out a bit there, Laura. I don't know. I see the slideshow moving, but I can't unfortunately hear you. I don't know if you can hear me, but I do not hear or see you. If our members are seeing or hearing, I'm not quite sure what happened there. Yes, Iris, I do see, just while Laura's reconnecting here, I do see that, but I will, like I said, I will have to ask our Galapagos expert, with the warmer current, less food and wildlife, they are completely different destinations. And like Laura had mentioned that she's not an expert on, the conditions of the Galapagos as they compare to the conditions of Antarctica, in regards to the wildlife and the food and the sea life. So please rest assured that I will be reaching out and I will provide that answer for you. I just don't have the answer for you currently. And then Hillary, yes, just while Laura's reconnecting here, I do know again that the helicopter excursion won't be on the World Explorer as they just do not have the technology, I guess, or the space or the helipad, I guess you can call it. So I can reassure you there. Now, I don't know if you guys are seeing Laura right now. This, how unfortunate that this has happened to us near the 1 hour mark of our travel talk. But as we've learned in the past, that technology can be our friend sometimes, and it can be our greatest enemy. So as Laura reconnects here, I know she was going through. Yes, thank you for confirming that, Hillary. It's just myself. As Laura reconnects here, I know she was going through some of these pictures as well. Thank you. Perfect. Okay. I appreciate the comments, guys, because yeah, I don't know, sometimes you guys are seeing some things that I'm not seeing, but yeah, so while Laura, oh, I see her kind of going through it, but while she's reconnecting, we can take a look at these pictures. The wildlife, I can say that Laura and I did have a discussion prior to the travel talk starting, and she did say that there is absolutely no shortage of the amount of things that you are going to see, and every expedition is different. So, with the Drake Passage per se, you could again get the Drake Lake or the Drake Shake. And there she has explained that, you could possibly see a blue whale there, possibly not. So the thing with expeditioning and travel in general is to keep that open mind, especially when it comes to a place like Antarctica. And with Quark, you have to keep your horizons far and make sure that you guys are keeping that open mind, because 2025. Yes, Iris, you are correct. Sorry, I'm just seeing your comments coming through now. The helicopter ride is included in 2025, but not 2026. So that is correct. I will mention that in the 2025 expedition, there are two different helicopter options. One is included and one is extra. So I'm just pulling up the details of that now. The one that is included in the 2025 expedition, that is a flight seeing excursion. So what that means is that you will be remaining on the helicopter and you will be, just observing. However, there is an extra optional add-on that I'm going to just read it here, is to do the exclusive heli landing expedition or excursion, I guess we can call it. And that one is actually where we're going to be getting off and exploring. So that one is at an extra cost of about $395 US. But again, those two are only for the 2025 expedition, whereas the World Explorer just does not have the equipment for the helicopters in 2026. So it looks like Laura is having a bit of an issue getting back on. I apologize for this delay, guys. I'm just checking to see if she sent me a message here. However, if not, yes, she sent me a message here. She says she's still on and running. Yeah, maybe Laura, if you can hear me, maybe leave the studio and hop back in. And then we can kind of go into the details of the accommodations. As we had mentioned, there are two different ships. So I would love to be able to give you guys a clear kind of overview of what those two different ships entail. But I'm just answering Laura here. Perfect. Just to go back to the list of the packing list, because Donna, I do know that you had asked that, and Milka, you had asked that as well. If you have not received a packing list from either Women's Travel Club or Quark yet, please rest assured that once this concludes, I will make sure to have that provided to you. But like I had previously mentioned, Quark was amazing in making sure that Women's Travel Club had a full list, detailed list of the things that are included and excluded from this tour. So if you're, kind of pondering whether or not you want to join this group, I highly recommend reading throughout the entire tour page, or watching the full travel talk here. Yes, it looks like she's hopped off and she's going to hop back on. Hello. But like I said, so for things like the stand-up paddleboarding excursion, if you look on our tour page, you will see a clear layout of the duration, which is 1 to 1.5 hours. You'll have the guide to client ratio, and you have the provided gear, which would be the dry suit, the booties, the waterproof gloves, the personal flotation device, and all of that. Now, oh, and there's Laura here. I'm gonna bring her. Hello. I don't know what happened, but it's okay. I've been vamping. It's great. I'll throw up the slideshow here. I know we were discussing the ship, but I'm just explaining to the members here again about those extra excursions that are included on the 2025. Oh, there's yours. I'm actually going to put yours.
Yeah, and I think I can bring it back to where we were, which is like around here. Ultramarine. Here we are.
So yeah, like the differences in the two ships, I did explain that the helicopter is for 2025, and that's just because the Ultramarine has the ability to have a helicopter where the World Explorer does not. So do you want to kind of give our members that distinction between the Ultramarine and the World Explorer?
Absolutely. So I was saying that the Ultramarine has been really designed, in everything within that ship has been thought like about the polar region. So to the reinforced hull, to the stabilizer, to the way we use dynamic repositioning and all of the sustainability features on the ship, everything is made for the polar region. And so Quark owns the ship. Of course, the helicopter is a major highlight because seeing the polar region from above is pretty incredible. And then it has 4 Zodiac embarkation points. So it's very super quick to take everyone outside at the same time. So this is one of the things about Quark, is that there's no waiting time on board. Any ship above 200 passengers, people have to wait. Sometimes they don't have, they're not even allowed to land, especially in Antarctica. Any ship above 200 people, they only have access to 20 landing sites, versus Quark has access to 200 landing sites. So that's one of the biggest difference between cruising and then expedition. And so the Ultramarine is 199 passengers, and then we consider it as like one of our finest and luxurious ship. So everything inside is like luxury, very like comfortable, and it has the best, the more space within its own category. So as you can see, like the cabins are like really spacious, lots of balconies. And then the public spaces are pretty amazing as well. The sauna is pretty cool. Like, I mean, like after the polar plunge, this is the place to be. You do your polar plunge, you get your certification, and then you go up there in the sauna, and then you can see the icebergs passing on. This is pretty amazing. So I was on the Ultramarine in July, and I absolutely loved that ship. So yeah, pretty incredible.
In there, just so I heard you correctly. So the Ultramarine has how many passengers did you say?
199.
And then 199, and then the World Explorer, I just have Iris asking, that's a bit smaller of a ship.
It's a little bit smaller. Yeah, the World Explorer has 172. So it's a little bit smaller. The main, I think the main difference is that, of course, the helicopter, and then the World Explorer is really like one of our finest and then fastest ship. It's also very like comfortable, very luxury. Like I'll say the main difference is like the Ultramarine has the most largest portfolio of adventure options with like the helicopters as well, like of course, and it's really like to go beyond. It's really to take you to places where like no one else can, and then where like other ships don't have access. The World Explorer is like pretty amazing too. It's super comfortable. The experience on board is really amazing. It's like being on a little bubble, while going on a true expedition. I really like the World Explorer as well. As you can see, the space is like pretty big and comfortable. It has balconies, either a French balcony or like walkout balcony, or a French balcony style. So all balconies on the World Explorer. And then I'll say the main difference is like the Ultramarine is like designed to go beyond, and then with like premium luxury, versus the World Explorer, it's more of like a relaxed luxury. But like in terms of like premium modern, I'm gonna go back a little bit, modern accommodation, they're like pretty similar as well. I really like both of them.
Right, perfect. And then I'm just looking here. So yeah, we looked at the indoor and the outdoor spaces, but can you just go into a bit about the $250 shipboard credit that is included? So what kind of things can our members use that for on the ships? Where does that shipboard credit apply to?
Yeah. So before we, so people could use that credit to buy alcohol at the bar, or like premium Wi-Fi. But from November 2024, we're going all inclusive. So premium Wi-Fi was going to be included, as well as alcohol. So during dinner, there is always like a selection of like beer and then wine during dinner, but also the bar is going to be included as well. So for the ship-up credit, people can use it towards premium alcohol at the bar. Let's say you want to have like a special, like, like super old whiskey to cheer on your crossing the Drake Passage, that you can use it on that. You can use it at the Polo Boutique as well. You can use it to book adventure options. For instance, you booked your trip, the kayaking or paddling was full, but then, there is an opening, and then you are able to join last minute. You can use it towards that. And then you can use it towards the spa as well, if you want to book a warm massage after you pull
that would be like my number one. I'm like, I just went and did stand-up paddleboarding in the Arctic, and now I need a massage.
Exactly.
I think that was my kind of go-to. That's awesome. Thank you for that. I saw you had a slide, and my mistake, because I asked a question after it with the dining experiences, and what those are like. And I know some of our members have dietary restrictions, such as celiac or vegetarian or aversion to certain foods. So is there a way for accommodating those members?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we can accommodate any dietary specific. The only specific diet that we cannot accommodate, unfortunately, at this stage is kosher, because it does require in terms of like logistics on board, it's really like very complicated, and so it would be impossible for us to guarantee it. So that's why we prefer to say we cannot accommodate kosher at the moment, unfortunately. The rest, absolutely no problem. Gluten-free, if there is any allergies, or like vegan, vegetarian, we are used to accommodate those diets. And then like on my last trip, I have to say, like, a lot of people were actually requesting vegetarian and then vegan. So every meal, people can really pick. So breakfast and lunch, usually it's more of like a buffet, because it's quicker, because in the afternoon we have to go back outside. So it's like really like relaxed lunch. For dinner, it's usually a 3 or 4 course meal, but there is always a vegetarian or vegan option or gluten-free. So it's very easy to see that on the menu. And then if there is anything like specific, we just need to know in advance. It's always helpful if the team can know in advance. They can order more supply to accommodate those special needs. And then if you didn't, raise your hand and communicated that to us before, just talk to the hotel manager, and we used to accommodate any type of diet and restrictions. Absolutely no problem.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I just have a follow-up question in regards to the shipboard credit and the spa. So just to clarify, Iris has asked, because she doesn't drink, can that credit be used elsewhere? And I did answer in the comments, but yes, Iris, and she's asked about the Wi-Fi as well. So in November of this year, the Quark Expeditions are going to switch over to all-inclusive. So the Wi-Fi will be included in your pricing, as well as the drinks. But of course, as you said, you don't drink. So that 250 shipboard credit can be utilized elsewhere, as Laura said, the boutique. So if you wanted to wait and buy that really, warm special pair of gloves, you can use the 250 shipboard credit to buy gloves at the boutique. Or what I would do is after one of my many excursions out in the cold Antarctic, well, not that cold in February, but, cold enough, I'd come back and use it at the spa. And, you are more than welcome to use your shipboard credit that way. Now, Laura, Donna has asked, is there a list of spa options or services that can be used on board at the spa?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's like some complementary like options. For instance, versus it's on the Ultramarine or on the World Explorer, we have the sauna. So the sauna is free for everyone, and so there's absolutely no charge. What we say, like the spa is really towards like massage. So so usually we have a selection on like facial or like different sort of like massage, Swedish massage. On the Ultramarine, I had a hot stone massage. It was just the best. Like draining massage, or like different types of like I don't know how to say this in English. Sorry for my French accent, but
no,
like,
you're good. You're doing
I was looking for the word. A treatment. So different sort of treatment as well. So absolutely. And then if people are interested to know in advance, we actually have some like spa menu that I'm super happy to share with you if you want to send that over.
Yes, that would be great. Awesome. So yeah, I will get that packing list with the brochure, because I'm not sure Donna is signed up for our 2025 expedition, and I don't think that she had received that brochure packing list. So I'd love to be able to provide that to our members, as well as the menu for the spa.
I'm going to take notes right away. So yeah, so packing list.
Great.
And then
else here who is spa. Yes, and then the spa. So if anybody else who isn't signed up for the trip yet, but would also like those tools, just so that they can, do a bit more research and see what kind of things that they should be considering, I would love to provide those to you as well. But yes, Donna, we've got that for you, and I will send that your way. But in terms of, because we're kind of coming up here on that 1 hour, 1.5 hour mark, and I would love to ask you, Laura, is there anything you want to say to our members who may be a bit nervous about booking or wavering in their decision? Do you have any remarks?
See, like when you think about Antarctica, it's a trip of a lifetime. It's something that you will live only once in a lifetime. And what I feel that is really, really special is, number one, to share that with someone. So if you want to bring your partner, your sister, your parents, your children, your best friend, like sharing this experience with loved ones is actually really, truly unique. You're going to build memories that will stick with you for a lifetime. I was very fortunate to bring my parents on an expedition with me in July in Greenland, and the moment you share, being in such like remote places, it's really very unique, and I would absolutely like encourage you to do that. If you're traveling solo, this going to the polar region is also incredible because you learn also a lot about yourself. And then sometimes it might seem very cliche to say that, but you don't come back the same from Antarctica. And then it's always like very funny when people say, "Oh, I remember you've been telling me this," and then when I say this, it might sound like super cliche, but when people come back and then give me a call and say, "Actually, you know what, Laura, it's true. It's sometimes impossible to put words on what Antarctica does to you. You have to live it to really embrace it and understand. Like it's a human experience, but it's also like a place where you connect with nature, you connect with yourself, and like there's not a lot of places on Earth where, you know, like being so close to a place that is so wild and then raw, like it really does something to you. It's like I would say it's a bucket list, but it really does something to you as well. And then disconnecting from society, it puts your life in perspective as well. And then in terms of like wildlife, it's incredible. To me, Antarctica is the last place on Earth where you can really have the relationship with the wildlife. If you think about the whole planet, everywhere else on the planet, wildlife, animals, they're hunted. They're hunted in the Arctic. They're hunted in, you know, even the most remote, you know, island or in Africa. Like everywhere else, they are hunted. Versus in Antarctica, they're not. And so the relationship that you can have with the wildlife is truly incredible. On my very first trip to Antarctica, we were kayaking, and then we were in the middle of a group of 4 humpback whale. And then they stick with us for like half an hour. It felt like an eternity. At first, I was like, "Yeah, no, they're gonna check on us, whatever. They're gonna leave us in 2 minutes." But no, they were so interested in us because they don't know who we are. The penguins is the same. They're a little bit like chickens. They're so funny. They'll come to see you if you're like sitting in the snow. We have like distance. You know, we say people like don't approach the penguins, don't pet them, stay away from like 5 meters. But those guys, if you're sitting and then you're like quiet in the snow, they'll come to see you. They'll come to pick your boots, and then sometimes like when people are like sitting with the penguins, you don't know who is looking at who. It's like it's really incredible to have this relationship with the wildlife. And February is one of my best time to go because it's the whale season. So penguins are there all the time. So different species of penguins, but also lots of different of birds and seals. But February is the prime time for whale. Those guys arrive at the end of January to Antarctica to feed and then to raise their young. And so they're going to be everywhere. Like Antarctica is whale season. You just sit on a Zodiac and you just see them breach, and it's really like incredible. So yeah, it's awesome. Trip of a lifetime.
No, that was painted the perfect picture there for us. I think like even I'm excited. I'm like, I'm not even signed up for this trip. I'm like, oh, maybe I will be soon.
You have to come.
I know. So I just have a question from Iris here. So just here, she's asking, is the February 19th to March 2nd, 2025 trip only a women's travel club trip? If my male friend would like to join me, how do I book? This is a great question for yourself, Laura. So if Iris would like to do a double accommodation booking with a male friend, how can she do that?
Oh, absolutely. So it's exactly the same process. Like if you don't want to try to join the group, you can let the Women's Travel Club team know, and then I can absolutely book you, on the side in a twin or double cabin. So there's absolutely no problem.
Absolutely. So yes, Iris, you just have to reach out to us, and we will facilitate that booking for you and your friend. She's also asked, is there free solo booking if booked early? And I've just come to understand if you're asking with no single supplement. Now, I can say from a women's travel club perspective, unfortunately, there are no deals on right now as it pertains to single or double occupancy pricing. So what you see on the website is reflective of what the pricing that Quark has given us. Am I correct in saying that, Laura?
Absolutely, yeah. The one thing that that is important to know is that we partner together because basically, like the way you do the groups is it's really like also towards the community and
Yes.
the experience you provide for the community, and then for the women that travel, with you, it's like so unique.
Yes.
And so the way we do our partnership is that there is like a specific and exclusive pricing for a women's travel club.
Yeah.
So that's why everything you can see on the Quark website, it's going to be more expensive, basically, because Women's Travel Club has this specific groups and pricing, and that is exclusive to them. So in terms of like solo, absolutely talk to the team. Sometimes we can find some options, and so it's important to keep the conversation going. Sometimes we have like solo cabins, so we have very limited solo cabins in every ship. Sometimes we're able to extend the exclusive pricing to Women's Travel Club, because this is like what our partnership is about. And then in terms of like single cabins, so yeah, I'll encourage you to talk to them. There is like a single supplement if you want to have like the whole cabin to yourself, but because of the exclusive pricing, it's still like a pretty good deal.
Oh, for sure. And I will mention that the exclusive pricing for 2025 has expired for the Women's Travel Club. But the 2026 pricing is special pricing. So I just had this conversation with Richard. So I had to mention that. He did let me know that our special pricing because next year's expedition is coming extremely quickly. And it's not only Women's Travel Club members is what, we need to make that distinction. I know it's assumed, it's a big enough ship that we can assume it's not private to our group, but just to keep you guys in the know, there are other people booking through other services, through Quark themselves, through other groups. So just so you know, if you are interested in either of these expeditions, but especially 2025, that I would, try to make that decision now just to get you that best pricing that we can, not because we're trying to rush you or lock you in, but because we want to give you the best rates possible and get you on that amazing experience. So if there are any further questions, I highly encourage our members that are here still to ask while you have Laura and I in front of you. But I will mention that, of course, if you have follow-up questions, like I will be communicating with Iris on the conditions that she had asked about, I will be providing those extra brochures, pricing for spas and all that stuff to Iris and Donna as well, and the other members booked on the trip. But again, if there are any further live questions, now is the time. But Donna has to go. Thank you so much for being here, Donna. Your comments were awesome, and your questions were
great questions.
Amazing questions. And Donna is booked on 2025, Laura. So she says she's very excited to see Antarctica and to go ahead on
for her. Yeah, so happy. Yeah, I'd love to receive the feedback. Absolutely, this is something I really like, is the feedback when people come back. So yeah, this is really amazing. So happy for her.
Yes, she says thanks. Iris, Ali's the price you sent is the new 2026 pricing. The one that was sent out, it should be the 2026 pricing, Iris. But I mean, I have it pulled up right here. I could, just briefly verbalize the pricing to you if you would like. So, there are 3 different suites, I guess we can call them, that you will have an option between. So there's the Verdana suite that is with a French balcony that is offered in both double and single. There is the Infinity Suite. Again, that is a single and double with a walkout balcony. And then there's the Superior Suite with a large walkout balcony. The Verdana suite starts a double occupancy of 10,499 US, and the single goes to 16,819. With the Infinity Suite, that's the regular walkout balcony, the double occupancy rate is 10,499 US. The single goes to 16,819. So those are the same. And then for the Superior Suite, that's where you're going to hike up just a little bit, and we're going to go to 13,199 US for double occupancy, and the single goes up to 21,449 US. I can, of course, send that to you, Iris, as well, just so that you have that pricing laid out for you clearly. I know if I was listening to myself say all of those numbers, I wouldn't remember a single one of them. So just to have it verbalized here in the recording as well for reference, but I will send you typed out the details of the pricing as well. Does anybody else have any questions? And while I wait for you to type, I will thank Laura for being here as well, and for giving us. First of all, these pictures have been absolutely incredible. Like the photography expert seems to know what they're doing.
They know, and just wanted to quickly mention something on the photography guide. So at the end of every single expedition, the photography guide put together a slideshow, and so everyone will receive a whole package with like the location, like the maps, every single type of wildlife they've seen on the trip, every location, history, and the slideshow. So the slideshow, it's like basically all the videos and pictures that are put together. And this is like one of the highlights at the end of the trip, to watch the slideshow, and people receive it after the trip to download it, so they have something to keep. So if you're really, really bad at pictures, and then you kind of like missed it, then you have the pictures of the guide, and then of like people that share the pictures along the way.
Exactly. Thank you for that. Iris says thanks, and I don't see anybody else typing. So with that being said, of course, if you have further questions, please reach out to the Women's Travel Club. If you have any Quark specific questions, you can definitely reach out to the Women's Travel Club, and we can facilitate the conversation. Again, if you ever wanted to hop on to a three-way call with somebody from the Women's Travel Club, like myself and Laura, just to have a more open discussion, and if you're looking for more specific face-to-face kind of conversationalist question and answers, we can definitely organize that. Iris says she is excited by the pics and the discussion, which that makes me so happy, Iris. That's what Travel Talk is here for, just to give you guys that information and to get you excited, to give you that sneak peek. And Laura, you have been absolutely amazing in helping me facilitate that environment here today. So thank you for being such an awesome guest.
Thank you. It was really fun. I really liked it. I hope people are inspired and will join us to this incredible trip.
Oh, definitely. I'm not even signed up, and I'm excited. But it is. It's one of those destinations in the world that, like you said, it's once in a lifetime. Bring your family if you can, but if not, as you said, Laura, the Women's Travel Club and Quark themselves are very forward on that connection and community. So, if you're coming on as a solo traveler, it's not like you're going to have any less of an experience, because you will be making those connections. The ships are small enough that if, you're not best friends with your Women's Travel Club member, then you're going to find another, passenger or group of people. There's lots and lots of opportunities for those connections on a ship with Quark. So
absolutely. I'm still in touch with people on my first trip, like from 10 years ago. You absolutely, the experience that you live is so unique that you really bond with like people, versus there are a new group, some people that you absolutely don't know. And yeah, it's really like a truly human experience. And I'm still, we still have like a group, a WhatsApp group of people, and we traveled together like 10 years ago, and then we still like keep in touch, and it's pretty amazing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I'm going to take this down here. I'm going to say thank you again, and I'm going to remind our members, unfortunately, but fortunately, I am tour hosting for the next 2 weeks, so there will be no travel talks, but I will try to answer my emails as best as possible. And Laura, again, you've been awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Enjoy your trip.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.